Today's segment of Sound Balming is brought to you by Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Body Care. I cannot express to you how much we love their products. Although we use them all year, as the weather gets colder, we need these products even more. The dreaded drop in temperature, the dryness, the itchiness, and the unnecessary flakiness is inevitable. Shea butter from Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Body Care is the only thing that works for my skin and hair needs. Not only do these products cure my dry skin, the whipped butter goes on smoothly and doesn't leave that uncomfortably thick, sticky residue. Bonus? It smells absolutely amazing. There are so many different scents to choose from too. Not only do they carry skincare products, there are products for authentic living, face, shower, hair and beard, spritzers and perfumes, and bath products. Let me tell you, we cannot even keep the stuff in the studio. The entire production team, as well as all our children, use Jimmy and Mary's product. Jimmy and Mary's take pride in creating quality, handcrafted products from simple ingredients for the entire family. Their products are made for all skin types and are 100% handmade, 100% vegan, and 100% cruelty-free. Skincare is important. Moisture is key, and keeping our skin and hair hydrated is essential. I cannot emphasize how much we trust Jimmy and Mary's for all of our skincare needs. Hurry on up to jimmyandmarys.com and check out their products. Did I mention service is fast and efficient too? Don't forget to mention that you heard about Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Skincare on Sound Balming. Use the discount code SOUNDBALM20 to get 15% off. That's SOUNDBALM20 for 15% off at Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Skincare.
Hey everybody, welcome to Sound Bombing. I created this show for people who want to experience a radical, life-changing journey through the sounds of my diverse guests. I hope that each sound you hear on this show will strengthen your faith, encourage your dreams, and challenge you to awaken the greatness within you.
Drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We come to drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. The bomb.
This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
Lamar Darnell Shields.
2 and 1. Welcome to my channel. I am Dr. Lamar Darnell Shields, the creator of Sound Bombing, and welcome to one of the most exciting hours of the day. Yes, I'm bold enough to say it. Welcome to one of the most exciting hours on the internet, regardless of how you're listening to us, because we are on all social media. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining me. And I'm so excited because today we're always talking about ideas that will help you unlock your full potential. And if you listened last week, we had Dominique or Dome Brightman. This guy was a ball of energy, and you can see it from his screen, this green screen in the background, how much energy he brought to the show. And today is no different. I'm so excited that my guest is joining me. I'm going to introduce Denise shortly. But thank you for joining me. If you're new to the Bomb Shelter, hey, welcome. If you are old, it's not old as an age, if you are an OG of a bomber, and bombing means healing, not blowing something up, you know what we typically do. We sit up in our chairs, we find a comfortable position, we put our palms on our lap, and our palms are facing up because we are about to get prepared for our 3 breaths. And we always start with 3 breaths to really create the foundation for the show. We're bringing a lot of energy into these spaces, and I like to get people on the same level. You don't know what type of energy I'm bringing. I don't know what type of energy that you're bringing. But if you listen to the show, you know I'm always about those good vibes. So I want you to slowly close your eyes. I want you to sit up straight and find a comfortable position. Roll your shoulders back and everything is soft. Your face is soft, your eyes, your shoulders, everything is soft. We're going to start with our 3 breaths. Our first breath is just for 3 seconds. Inhale through your nose. Hold it for 3 seconds and then let it out. Now we're going to go a little deeper for 5 seconds. We're inhaling through our nose, our nostril. Inhale. Hold it for 5 seconds. Exhale. Now we're going to go a little deeper. We're going to now inhale for 10 seconds. Inhaling through our nostril and out of our mouths. Inhaling. Hold it. Let it out. And what is that called? That is called the breath of life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for breathing with me today. What that says is that says that we are alive. So in the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, it is so easy to get lost and to forget the things that matter. The key truths that make all the difference in life is you can lead a better life. It's easy to put up things you don't really want or consistently prepare yourself for a disaster. And many of us do that all the time. Every time we put this thought out there in our mind that we're going to fail, it can happen because thoughts are powerful. In all honesty, it's something most of us do. And we could all do and make better choices that feed our soul, please our heart. If you have a wrong choice in your past, it doesn't need to define you today. Well, life provides us with opportunities for abundance and happiness. You don't have to seek them. They will discover you. The great teacher, one of my teachers I had an opportunity to spend some time with before he transitioned, Dr. Wayne Dyer, said, that idea that you're looking for is looking for you as well. Just pay attention. And our next guest, Denise Zavitson, his son, will talk about this in all of the work that she's been doing. She's going to talk about attitudes of mind, allow our purpose to permeate abundance, receive joy and permanence in your life. Denise has her own amazing experience with personal loss and culminating in a tragic accident that claimed the lives of 3 family members. Denise found herself lost and alone, feeling unloved and unworthy. She embraced positive thought and attempted to manifest her dream, but it always seemed to stay just beyond her reach. In desperation to find an answer and relief and her despair, she embarked on a personal pilgrimage of her own journey. She started to study her very own Walden Pond experience, retreating to an isolated cabin in Tennessee to read, study, and to reflect. She's going to talk about the 7 affirmations that have become a part of her daily practice. These pillars of truth have helped her move from negative emotions to positive emotions. She, and with several of her books, but this particular book, The Mindful Gardener, her online course rather, is about helping people deal with all of their emotions. She focused on her retreats, her one-to-one coaching to help others become the greatest that they can be. And this is so in line with sound bombing. So I'd like to welcome Denise to the Bomb Shelter. Denise, how are you doing? And let us know where you are calling in from.
Okay, thanks. I'm doing great. I love your energy. It's so amazing. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
You are in Nashville, one of my favorite cities, Nashville Nation, the home of like everything from music to food to one of the big industries, not only just country music, but gospel music, a great place to be. How have you been holding up since the pandemic has just taken many of us out of it right now? Yeah. How have you been holding up?
Thank you. I've been doing well, find the positive in it. So I have been nesting. I've got sourdough bread baking or whatever it does, bubbling on the refrigerator, and taking advantage of the opportunity it gives us. We miss our music here, but other than that, we're good and praying for everyone.
So how is Nashville? I mean, for those that have never been to Nashville, when you're downtown, it's just music, bars. You don't even need to go in any of these places. You can stand outside, walk around in the street, and all of that energy is just alive and well. How has it been since the pandemic? Has the music stopped? Are people not coming to Nashville? What's going on there?
Well, a little bit of all that. It's been we rely heavily on tourism. A lot of that has stopped or definitely slowed. Broadway, which is kind of the main thoroughfare for all of the music, for at the bars, has shut down pretty much. Just now starting to come back, and it's really hurt so many of our creative community here. The art, not just the artists, but the songwriters and the everybody involved in songwriting, and then this serving the hospitality community's been impacted as well. But you know what? We're coming back. People are being resourceful because we're a creative city. They're finding ways to get on Twitch or get on, what's the one? TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So they're finding new ways to share their music, and that's the best part about the creative spirit that lives here. I think is that it's resourceful. It says, "Oh, here I bumped up against this. Let me find the new better way."
Mm-hmm. So how are you able to maintain your creativity in a time of racial unjust, in a time of political mess, in a time of poverty at an all-time high, at a time of people just not getting along? How do you, in your work, maintain a level of creativity? Because you talked about being in a creative space. I love that word. I consider myself a content creator. I'm an artist, just like you are. I think our work is very artistic. But how do you personally, Denise, handle your work and keep people engaged and keep them motivated and inspired to keep creating?
Well, currently now, especially, I think people are going online. They're hungry for outlets that help them live their lives, process and filter what's happening to them. Some of the unrest that's going on, it's such a sad and situation, but we can see it as that kind of bumping us up to us to say, come on, it's time for action. What can you do that's going to make the world more positive today? And so I think there's a little more stimulation happening. So personally, I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. A lot of people are struggling with the isolation, and they're struggling with the lack of creative outlets. And so I work with a lot of people who kind of try to find that way for them to know that the power, as you've said so many times, the power is within you. It's really that intention that you have to give out, and then put your attention to it. So the intention and then the attention is really key, I think.
Well, Denise, what people may not know about you is that you not only write about this and you engage individuals, you've gone through your own personal tragedy and had to sort of recreate your life and then decide to then pour into other people. Because quite often, people read about you, they read about me and all these great things that we do in our courses, our talks, but they don't really know our story. Walk us through that, because there's a listener that's out there who's come to your course and he or she is here because they love you. But then there's also a listener that say, yeah, it's easy for her because she's doing this right now. Let our listeners know how you got to this point to want to do this work, and share with them your own personal story and how you've used your story to engage and uplift and motivate others.
Yeah. So mine started out a lot like other people. I kind of say we sleepwalk through life and we'll start to get little nudges. Hey, it's time to, that lobster shell starts getting tight. And you get little taps on the shoulder. And finally, if you're not paying attention, you'll get that big old slap on the shoulder that says, wake up. And mine came actually in a series. So we were farmers back in Illinois. And we lost the farm, and that was shameful and tragic and very personal experience of loss. So we picked ourselves up from that, went on. Then there's a divorce, and it's a very personal and shameful and all that. And you pick yourselves up and you go on. Well, during that process, then there was a tragic accident. My family, I got that call in the middle of the night. They said there's no good calls after 10 o'clock. Well, mine wasn't. And it was from actually my ex-husband that called me and said, your mom and dad have been killed. Your sister's left in a coma. And, it just shakes your world. You always go back to, when was that microsecond before, when they were here and present in my life, and now not physically present, and it shakes your world. And that's really what happened to me, that caused me to really say, wake up. We don't have forever. None of us. It doesn't matter if I'm healthy and 35 today, which I'm not. But if I'm helping 35, there's no guarantee that I've got tomorrow.
They told me you were 35. You're not 35. Wait, I know that you're healthy, but they told me you were 35. You know, I got to hang up this.
Somebody's lying.
All right. So it wasn't an easy process for you to get the call about the death of family members. And I'm so sorry to hear that. What are some things during that time that you learned about yourself? Before we get into your new work, what did you learn about yourself that you didn't even know that you had within you? Because I think a lot of times we're waiting for somebody to come into our space through a course, through a book, through a TV, through a song, through a meal, to wave this wand. And I tell people the Calvary is not coming. We have to still do the work. What did you learn about yourself during that time? And then what is that you learned about yourself then you now use in the work as you engage other people?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing I learned was that the ability to kind of pick yourself up. And I was fortunate. I was working with hospice. I was volunteering in hospice. So I had some experience with loss and learning how to reset after loss, which is really just becoming more reflective, honoring the fact that if you hadn't loved so deeply, you wouldn't hurt so much. And so when that gift almost of what you have with people in your life, and when you lose them, figuring out how to, or absorbing how to keep them present even when they're physically not with you. I think that was one of the things, the reflective process that I gave myself. And honestly, what comes to mind for me, I was a scuba diver at the time. And I remember when everything felt like it was collapsing around, I'd go down, 60 feet, 70 feet in the water where it's complete silence and begin to just be there. I actually have a fly flying around me. I don't feel like last night's debate.
That's so funny.
But,
so I remember I was in the studio a while ago, and this fly, 2 shows that we were recording, and Denise, I had to give the fly a name. It was so funny because this fly this fly wanted to be engaged in the conversation. So evidently that fly, like the fly last night, wants to be engaged.
If it lands on my forehead, I'll slap it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think what I learned when I went into that scuba experience, and I had been meditating, but not in a really serious way, but I understood how valuable that getting quiet is, that allowing yourself to just be in the present. You mentioned Wayne Dyer. He promotes that a lot. One of his mentors was Ram Dass,
yes,
who I also follow. And it is just allow yourself to, as Ram Dass said, be here now. And I think that's what scuba gave me an intro into. And then I took that back into my own experience that lets you just breathe through it. I talk about after that loss, just not setting the bar too high. Could I brush my teeth today? Could I walk down to the mailbox, little bits at a time, and then you reemerge into life.
Well, Denise, what about people who can't turn off that sound? It's not just going scuba diving. I've been scuba diving, it's very quiet. It's not just about, going for a walk or going for a run or just sitting in your house. What about people, Denise, who just can't turn off that noise that's going on in their head that's really causing them to be so negative? I know what are some of the strategies, and I know one of the strategies that you talk about that help you are affirmation. The affirmations mean to affirm means to agree. Now I know you identified 7 affirmations for a more fulfilled life. Talk to me about those affirmations. What do they come from? And then give us an overview of them, but then share with me, what do you say to people who can't find a space to get quiet, a physical space, but even when they do find a physical space, that noise is just so loud. And that noise could be grandmama, it could be granddaddy, it could be abuelita, it could be Theo Pepe, it could be my cousin, it could be Mrs. Jones, my teacher, it could be my rabbi from down the street. All of these voices going on in my head.
It can, and it can also be the TV that you turn on the minute you walk in your house.
Yeah.
So what I suggest is not being too harsh on yourself. We get a lot of masters out there, meditation masters, who say, all right, meditate for 40 minutes. Holy cow. That's like telling me to go up and hit a golf ball 300 yards. It's not going to happen. but you know what? I can do putt-putt golf. So I can do a little bit. And what you just did to start this session, I thought was fabulous. What I encourage people to do is start with small measure and get to the place where you can sit and do this breath work. Stay with the breath. When you come up to a stoplight, maybe not close your eyes, but take that minute to just sit there and breathe and recognize the breath coming through your nose. The affirmations are kind of a reset or a guidepost along a daily path. And I think what I've recorded them, and it's available, on my website, or you can download a PDF of them. I've had a lot of people tell me that they'll do these on a daily basis, just as a reminder. Impermanence is one of the first ones I mentioned. And that is, recognize that today is a gift. That's all impermanence does for us. It gives us a gift, and it makes life richer because it's not going to last forever. And so when we recognize that really intentionally on a daily basis and not dwelling on it, just recognizing it. Thank you for this gift. Gratitude is another one. And I think, as you said, Wayne Dyer, he said, when I get up in the morning, first thing I say is thank you for this day. And so gratitude in lots of different ways. And one of the encouragements I offer to my clients is to say, you know what, it's easy to be grateful, and it's good to be grateful for that hot cup of coffee, be grateful for water out of the faucet, but can you be grateful for maybe an ex-spouse that came into your life and now is gone from your life, and what did they bring you? So you start to be grateful for the lessons that they brought. You start to be grateful for lessons that maybe have been given you that were painful, but they have brought you to a better place today.
Now, I know one of your affirmations is releasing expectations. Can you explain to us what does that actually mean? Like releasing expectations, and then what does that actually mean, and why is that so important?
Yeah, well, it's a very broad topic, right? Because we can have expectations on ourselves. Oh, I've got to be more successful. I need to be this person because that's what I went to school for. So I've got to continue on this career path. Often expectations have been imposed on us by society, by teachers, by our parents, all with good intention, or mostly with intention, but it's kind of like I equate it, because my book is really about, it's kind of centered around a gardener and how you'll plant a seed in the garden. Well, if I plant a tomato seed in the garden and I'm expecting a tulip, I'm going to be disappointed. But if I plant a tomato seed and I let it be what it's going to be, it's going to be pretty delicious in the end. And I think each of us is like that. We have an inner being that needs to come out. And when we start to put layers of, it's almost like an onion covering or a pearl that gets covered up. Now,
I know your novella that you just mentioned, The Mindful Gardener, is about a songwriter in Nashville who has lost his way. Is this autobiographical? Because I know you are a country girl, grew up on the farm. And how does a country girl who grew up on the farm go now going deep underwater, now helping people to define their purpose? That's a shift right there in life. I grew up in Illinois, but I grew up in Chicago, the big city. And so he said we had a farm in Illinois. I'm thinking like, man, where in a ham sandwich does she live where there was a farm? But I'm thinking about Chicago. Yeah. So there's several questions within that. How does a girl who grew up on the farm go from growing up on the farm to caving to going in deep sea diving, and then also this novella that you wrote about this country singer in Nashville? Is this autobiographical? Basically, is the book about you, Denise?
Yeah, I don't think an author can write a book without having some pieces of it in it. So there are pieces of me in it, but it really, when I was farming, we were farming. I got out of college, married a farmer, and I gardened. And I realized it. I hadn't grown up gardening. My parents did little bits of it, but there's such a guidance in living life through gardening. You plant that seed, but first you have to cultivate the ground and you have to make sure it's ready for the seeds. And
so many metaphors in the concept of garden. You are, so right. Biblically, and most of the holy books have some form of gardening, and we're starting to see more people go back to that lifestyle, growing their own food. It's therapeutic because of COVID. They're looking to do different things. So you are so right. The planting of the seed, the reaping and sowing effect, so many metaphors within that process.
It's so powerful. And so, yes, I did garden some of my own. That's where some of the gardening experience comes from for the book. I am not a songwriter. And actually, interestingly, I met my current husband after I'd written the book, but his role is very prominent in the book. So I didn't even know him, but I was writing about him.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I just think that gardening was a nice little, this is kind of a parable or a fable type book. It is a novella. It's not a full-on novel. I actually wrote it because I felt like somebody could pick it up in Chicago Airport and have it finished before they get to Denver. So it was it's a quick read, and it really is just allegorical about life and how you make through life and using these affirmations. And
so you described it as transformational fiction. Now explain to me what transformational fiction is, and how does that garden analogy fit into your message in general with the work that you do with all of your clients?
Yeah, well, I actually encourage every client when we start working with them, I encourage them to plant something. Get a plant, take a seed, however they want to start with it, do a whole garden, but get your hands in the dirt a little bit and start to feel that connection to Mother Earth and to the process of creating something or being involved in the creation process. It's powerful.
I was just looking, as you were talking, I was looking in the studio because I typically keep some seeds around me, and as soon as you said it, I could not. I'm like, where are those seeds so I can show them to you? Because I really believe, just the power of a seed, when you think about how small it is and the things that you need, just the potential that's in that seed is such a great metaphor. So my producer loved the book, and that's why she had so many questions about the book, because she's a former English teacher, so she really got into it. And the whole metaphor of the seed, she's like, ask her, is the book about her? Because I want to know if it's a book about about her, just to get a connection. So it is so interesting because as I think about your work in your life, you grew up, of course, on a farm. You grew up Catholic, but then you also have this relationship with a Buddhist community, and you created this walled-in pond, so to say, in your own life. So explain to me what that journey was like, and then as our listeners are listening to the show and the people that are working with you on your course, what are some things that should they be asking themselves during the time when they're going through this transition? Because again, you went from this Catholic school girl, like I went to Catholic school, then this conversation or this 6 hours, 6 months, I believe, in the Buddhist community, and then, creating a sort of walled-in pond. What were some things that were going through your mind at that time? And do you think that you were going against the history or how you were reared? Was there a conflict that existed between where you came from and where you were actually going?
Interesting. Yeah, I actually think there was not a conflict for me. There was actually a building process and a commonality that I found. So I didn't become Buddhist. What I love to say is, because I've studied a lot of different teachings. And what I found is there's a common thread. I call it a golden thread that runs through all of religion. A lot of times it comes down to kind of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. And I find that what I found, and I was so thrilled with, is there's so many shared beliefs and shared truths within all religions, not necessarily just Buddhism, but many religions will share the core product, the pieces that humans haven't messed up. I think our society hasn't put demands on.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because I think what happens a lot of times in our own journeys, we feel that where we came from and where we're going there can be a clash between the two of those. And we're thinking about how we were raised and reared and how our parents took us to certain places, ceremonies. And when we're going in a different direction, some of us feel that we're turning our back. But there was some beauty in the places that we came from. even in some of the challenges. And I know you talk about that in your work, where you suggest that there are blessings or gifts that come from some of the most tragic circumstances. Now, it's interesting to say that, but then when tragedy hits, then it's sort of hard to practice those principles. Would you say?
I think it's very hard. I think what's really critical is coming back to, or really important in the moment, is coming back to that foundation of truth, of knowing ourselves. And, I was struck really, really strongly by, several years ago, there was a shooting within an Amish community. You remember that one, where the children, somebody came into their school, and
yes.
And I remembered I was struck so strongly that the parents, the people who lost their children, came out and said, "We are not angry. We don't hate this person. That's not how we should react, how we want to react. So we don't hate this person." And I think that's a big one. I'm not sure I could do that, but it is a good lesson that I wish we could all take a look at and say, wow, that's an interesting, it's almost like a taste test. That's interesting. How close could I get to that? So I start from things like my marriage, which my first marriage, people might say, oh, she failed. I don't feel like that was a failure for us. I feel it was a wonderful experience. We maintained respect for each other, and we're still very good friends today, and still maintained our family. So what did I learn from that? When we can learn from our tragedies, when I can see that my parents physically left me, and know that the connection stayed there. It wasn't like just because their body was gone, the love was gone. The love maintains today. And now, if I want to see them, or I want to talk to them, I just, call them up. Hey, Mom. And she's not on the phone these days, so her data plan is a lot better than it is for me. But
yes.
But she's right there for me.
I love that. So, Denise, how can our listeners get a copy of your novella, The Mindful Gardener? And if they want to work with you one-on-one in your courses, what is that process like? So leave us with all the information.
Yeah, sure. So actually, The Mindful Gardener is just being released now, because it started out as The Bountiful Garden, and I was encouraged to retitle it, and we made some little adjustments. So if they want to get The Bountiful Garden, it's available currently on Amazon for about another week, and then The Mindful Gardener will be out hopefully next week, before the 1st of November. And so that'll be out on Amazon or any of the platforms, Kindle. My website is awakentojoy.com, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Zavitson.
All right. Well, I love that. I want you all to reach out to Denise. Has a wealth of information. Check out her books and her website. I would encourage you to do that. Denise, what are some of your final thoughts for our listeners?
Oh my gosh, I think my final thought, the one I'm thinking of, is I want to point people to your website, because I'm so excited about your work, but also just mostly know that the power for a better life, a better, more joy-filled life, is within you. It's just a decision, an intention, and attention.
I love that. So all of my folks who are struggling during these times, we know the holidays are coming up, and we know we've lost a lot of people because of COVID, a lot of people to mental health issues because of high anxiety. I encourage you to check out Denise, all of her information and her writing. Thanks for joining me in the bomb shelter, Denise, but I cannot let you go yet, because the second part of the show is called the Super Bomb Questions. One of my favorite part of the show is brought to you by Mountain Made. It's an opportunity for me to ask you some questions, and I need you to respond as quickly as possible, just to let our listeners know a little bit more about you. All right, you ready, Denise?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. What is your favorite word?
Grace.
What brings you to tears of joy?
Connection.
What brings you to tears of sorrow?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. When somebody's hurt.
Got you. What do you wish you had more time to do?
I wish I had more time to connect.
What is your spirit animal?
Spirit animal. Fast. Right now it's my puppy Leela.
Leela.
It's a spirit animal.
What's your superpower?
Compassion.
Compassion. What is the best investment you've ever made? It could be anything that you can think of.
My time, my Walden Fund.
Walk me through your morning routine, because I know routines are very important for you.
I'm a really early morning person. So 4 o'clock-ish, I get up. I will go out and immediately meditate. I say my affirmations. Then I get to have my coffee on my deck to watch the sunrise.
If you can say one thing to your younger Denise self on the farm in Illinois, what would you say to yourself?
Believe in yourself.
So Denise Zavitson, I enjoyed our time together. Thanks for hanging out with me. It has been a pleasure. I learned a lot of information. You know, you are official part of the Sound Bombing family. And I encourage all of you all to go and check out everything that she has, because she's very, very powerful. So thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thrilled to get to know you.
Thank you. And I also want to thank my amazing engineer, my Haitian brother, Alexander Blanc, and my Liberian sister, Nicole Klempaka, and Supremacy for our theme music, and all of you for listening. I cannot do this without you. If you want to know more about me, go to drdrlds.com. Stop being stingy. Share me with all of your friends. Please leave a comment. Please, please, please go to iTunes. Leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing. And as always, believe something wonderful is about to happen. But some people miss the message because they're too busy looking for the message, but not you. Thanks for tuning in, and you've been listening to Sound Bombing. Goodbye, Denise.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Take care. Peace.
The Super Balm questions are brought to you by Mountain Made CBD. Mountain Made is changing the CBD game by offering a line of high-dose CBD tablets at an affordable price. Their products are THC-free and third-party tested for accuracy, cleanliness, and potency. Their products, which ship nationwide, include Build for CBD saturation, Boost for precision titration, and Recover for rest and rehab. With 9 years experience in hemp and fitness, Mountain Made's founders are focused on creating a quality product to help those who live an activated lifestyle. Check out mountainmade.life. Again, that's mountainmade.life to find out more about how their products can help you crush life. Remember, their products ship nationwide. Go check out their website today and follow them on social media at Mountain Made. That's the @MNTMADE. Our staff at Sound Bombing uses Build before a morning workout, which helps to push our bodies to a whole new level on a daily basis. Try Build, try Boost, try Recover. Our staff is using these products to enhance our active lifestyle naturally, and we are crushing life with Mountain Made CBD, and you can too. Start today by going to mountainmade.life and ordering Build, Boost, Recover, or the multitude of other products that they have which will enhance your lifestyle. I promise you, you won't regret it.